close your eyes. Let your breathing slow. Tonight, you don't have to go anywhere or do anything or remember anything at all. You only have to sink slowly into a story that has been unfolding for 4 billion years. We are going to travel down past the last of the daylight, down through water that grows darker and colder and quieter, until the surface is only a memory far above you. There is no hurry here. The deep ocean has never been in a hurry. It has kept the same patient darkness since before the first living thing drew breath, and it will keep it long after tonight is forgotten. So let the room grow soft around you, and let us begin to descend. The ocean covers most of our world. 2/3 of the planet is water, and most of that water is deep, far deeper than sunlight can reach, far deeper than any diver has gone. If you could pour away the sea and walk its floor, you would cross vast plains and mountain ranges longer than any on land, and trenches deep enough to swallow the tallest peaks whole. Almost none of it has ever been seen. We have better maps of the surface of the moon than of the bottom of our own ocean. The deep is the largest living space on Earth, and it is also the least known. It is, even now, a kind of gentle mystery, resting quietly beneath everything. Tonight, we visit it slowly. We will start at the surface, in the warm and the light, and then, chapter by chapter, we will go deeper into the twilight and the midnight and the trenches at the very bottom. Along the way, we will follow the whole long history of this place, how the water first came to Earth, how the first life may have begun in the dark, and how, after billions of years, one curious species finally learned to reach down and touch the deep. There is nothing to be afraid of down there. Only quiet, only cold, only the slow, endless patience of the sea. Let's take the first step off the edge. Imagine floating at the surface of the open ocean, far from any shore. The water is warm here near the top. The sun pours down and scatters into the blue, and everything is bright and moving and alive. This thin sunlit layer is only the very top of the sea, the first 200 meters or so. But almost all the ocean life you have ever heard of lives right here in the light. This is where the sunlight zone ends and the long descent begins. Take a slow breath and let yourself slip beneath the surface. At first, the change is gentle. The light is still all around you, soft and green-blue, filtering down in slow-moving beams. Tiny drifting things float past, plankton, the smallest wanderers of the sea, so small that millions could rest in a single cupped hand. They are the beginning of everything down here. Nearly every creature in the deep depends, in the end, on this fine rain of life drifting down from above. As you sink, the colors begin to leave the water, one by one. Red goes first. Just a few meters down, red simply disappears. There is no red light left to reflect, and so anything red looks gray or black. Then orange fades, then yellow. The world grows steadily bluer and cooler and calmer. By the time you reach 100 meters, the bright surface is a pale ceiling of light far above you. The warmth is gone. The water here is cool and still, and a deep, deep blue. And still, you are only at the very edge of the deep. Everything below this point, everything for the next several hours of our journey, lies deeper than most sunlight will ever reach. Below here, the ocean becomes something else. Not the bright blue sea of the surface, but a vast, dark, ancient world that has its own rules, and its own creatures, and its own long, quiet history. Before we go further down, let us go further back, all the way back to the beginning, to a time before there was any ocean at all. Let the darkness hold you gently for a moment, and let us return to the birth of the sea. 4.5 billion years ago, there was no ocean. There was no blue on this world at all. The young earth was a glowing, restless place, hot and violent and utterly dry. Its surface was molten rock. The sky was thick with ash and gas. If you had stood there, there would have been nowhere to stand, and no water anywhere to be seen. And yet the sea was coming, slowly, over millions and millions of years. Some of the water was already here, locked deep inside the rock of the young planet, waiting. As the earth began to cool, that water seeped and steamed its way upward, breathed out through countless volcanoes as vapor, rising into the early sky. And more water may have come from far away. In those early ages, the young earth was struck again and again by comets and icy fragments drifting in from the cold outer edges of the solar system. Many of these were rich in ice. Each one that fell may have carried a little more water to the surface of our world. Grain by grain, comet by comet, breath by volcanic breath, the water gathered. For a long time, the earth was still too too hot for any of it to settle. The water stayed in the sky, a thick blanket of cloud wrapped around a cooling world. But the earth kept losing its heat patiently into the dark of space. And at last, the surface cooled just enough. And then it rained. It is thought to have rained for a very, very long time. Not for days or years, but perhaps for many thousands of years. A slow, warm, endless rain falling onto bare rock, gathering in every low place, filling the hollows of the young world. The first pools became ponds. The ponds became seas. The seas spread and joined and deepened until at last the water covered nearly everything. And the earth, for the first time, became a blue world. This was the birth of the ocean. It was not calm at first. The early sea was warm and cloudy and strange beneath a sky still heavy with cloud. But it was here. After all that fire, the world finally had its water. And in the deepest, darkest, quietest parts of that new ocean, far from the storms above, something extraordinary was about to begin. Rest here a moment in that ancient warm water. The sea is young, and the world is quiet, and life has not yet begun. But it is very close now. Deep down on the floor of that early ocean, the ground itself was alive with heat. The young earth still burned inside, and in places along the ocean floor, that inner heat reached up and touched the water. Cracks opened in the seabed. Cold seawater sank down into them, was warmed far below, and rose again, hot now, and rich with minerals drawn up from deep inside the earth. Where that hot water met the cold, dark ocean, it built strange towers. We call them hydrothermal vents. They rise from the sea floor like slow stone chimneys, some no taller than a person, some as tall as a building. From their tops, dark clouds of mineral-rich water billow endlessly into the cold, which is why some of them are known gently as black smokers. Around them, the water is warm. The rock is warm. And the whole place is quietly, steadily fed by the heat of the earth itself. Here in the dark, with no sunlight at all, many scientists believe life may have begun. It is one of the oldest questions we have. How did the living come from the non-living? How did plain chemistry, plain rock and water and heat first become something that could grow and copy itself and carry on? We do not know for certain. Perhaps we never will. But the deep vents are one of the most promising places to look. They They offer everything the first life might have needed: warmth and shelter, and a steady supply of the chemicals that living things are built from, all tucked safely away on the dark ocean floor, far from the harsh sky above. And so, it may be that life on Earth did not begin in the sunlight at all. It may have begun down here, in the deep, in the dark and the warmth, beside a quiet stone chimney at the bottom of the sea. If that is true, then the deep ocean is not just an old place. It is the oldest home we have ever had. Every creature that has ever lived, every fish, every bird, every forest, and every one of us may trace its beginnings back to a warm crack in the floor of an ancient sea. That first spark, whatever it was very small. A single, simple living thing, too small to see. It did only what living things do. It took in what it needed. It grew. And in time, it made a copy of itself. And then there were two. And the long, slow, patient story of life had begun in the deep, in the dark, in the quiet, 4 billion years ago. Let that thought settle softly. We come from the deep, and tonight, gently, we are only going home. From that first small beginning, life spread but slowly, almost unimaginably slowly. For billions of years, all life on Earth stayed simple and small and hidden in the sea. There were no plants, no animals, no fish. For most of the history of life, the whole living world was made of tiny things, drifting and settling in the ancient oceans, too small to see, changing so gradually that 100 million years might pass with little to show for it. The deep ocean was their long, quiet nursery, while the surface of the world changed, while continents drifted, and the sky slowly filled with the oxygen these tiny lives breathed out. The deep stayed much as it always had been. Dark, cold, steady. It asked nothing of time. It simply waited and held its patient darkness, age after age after age. And then, at last, life grew bolder. After all those billions of years of simple things, the seas began to fill with larger life. The first true animals appeared, soft, strange, gentle creatures, unlike anything alive today. They drifted and rested on the ancient sea floor, in shallow water and in deep. They had no eyes, no bones, no teeth. They were the first animals the world had ever known, and they lived their whole lives in the sea. From them came more, and stranger, and in time, oceans filled with a great burst of new living things, creatures with shells and legs, and the first simple eyes ever to open in the world. For the first time, something looked out at the sea around it. But even as life grew busy and bright in the sunlit shallows, the deep remained its own separate world. Far below the reach of the light, the old rules still held. Down there were no plants to feed on, and no sun to grow them by. Down there, life had to find another way to live, and it did exactly as it always had, gathering quietly around the warmth of the vents, or waiting patiently for food to drift down from the world above. The deep has always been the ocean's memory. While everything else changed, it kept the old ways. Even now, if you go deep enough, you find creatures that seem to belong to a much older world, slow, simple, ancient forms, still living as their ancestors did, in a darkness that has barely changed in 1 billion years. We will meet some of them soon. For now, let the long ages wash over you, one after another, slow as the tide. Continents rise and fall. Oceans open and close. Life comes and goes in the sunlit world above. And through all of it, far below, the deep stays dark and cold and calm, waiting for us to arrive. Let us go back down now, back into the water, back toward the fading light. Return with me to the descending water, and let us pick up where we left the light. We had reached about 200 meters down. The warmth was gone, the surface only a pale glow above. Now we cross into the next great layer of the sea, a place with a beautiful and fitting name: the Twilight Zone. It reaches from around 200 meters down to 1,000 meters deep, and it is exactly what its name suggests: a world of endless dusk. Here, the last faint traces of sunlight linger, not enough to see by, not enough for any plant to live, but just enough to leave the water a deep, dim, midnight blue. It is the ocean's long evening, stretched out for hundreds and hundreds of meters. As you sink through it, the light continues to fail. By 300 or 400 meters, the blue has gone almost to black. Look up, and you might still see the faintest paleness far above, like the memory of a sky. Look down, and there is only darkness waiting. And yet this dim world is far from empty. The Twilight Zone is home to more fish than all the rest of the ocean combined. Vast, uncountable numbers of small creatures live here, hidden in the gloom tiny lanternfish and bristlemouths, and countless others, most of them no longer than a finger. They hang in the dark water in enormous, silent multitudes, so many that ships' instruments once mistook them for the sea floor itself. And every night they rise. This is one of the quietest wonders of our world, and almost no one ever sees it. Each evening, as the sun sets far above, countless creatures of the twilight zone swim slowly upward toward the surface to feed in the safer darkness of night. And each morning, before the light returns, they sink back down again into the safety of the deep. It happens every single night, all over the world in silence. It is the largest movement of living things on the entire planet, an endless, gentle tide of life, rising and falling with the turning of the day. And it has been happening unseen for millions upon millions of years. The creatures here are built for the dark. Many have large, upward-looking eyes to catch the last faint glimmer of light from above. Many are silver or black or a deep dark red, colors that vanish completely in the dim water, hiding them from anything that might be watching. And some of them carry their own small lights. Here in the twilight zone, we meet for the first time one of the deep's most beautiful gifts. Along the bellies of many small fish run rows of tiny glowing spots, soft points of living light, pale and blue-green and gentle. The fish glows just enough underneath to match the faint light coming down from above, so that from below it seems to vanish into the dusk. It is a quiet kind of magic, living light in a world with almost none. And it is only the beginning, because below the twilight zone, the last of the sunlight finally fails completely. And there, in a darkness more total than anything on the surface can imagine, the deep truly begins. Breathe slowly. The light is nearly gone now. Let us go into the true dark. At 1,000 meters down, the last light dies, not dims, dies. Below this depth, no trace of sunlight has ever reached, not the faintest glow, not the palest blue. The sun that lights the whole world above might as well not exist. This is the midnight zone, and it is the largest single environment on our planet. Take a moment to feel how vast that is. Most of the living space on Earth is right here, in permanent, total darkness, cold and still and quiet, stretching down for thousands of meters and out across the whole width of the world. This is the true face of our planet, not the green land, not the bright sea. This cold, dark, patient deep is by far the largest part of the world we live in. And it is not empty. The darkness here is complete, but it is not lifeless. The creatures of the midnight zone have simply given up on sunlight entirely and found other ways to live. They are among the strangest and gentlest wonders in all of nature, and almost none of them have ever been seen alive by human eyes. The water is cold now, just above freezing, and it will stay that way, unchanging, all the way down. The pressure is immense, growing heavier with every meter, and there is very little food. Nothing grows here. Every meal in the midnight zone has drifted down from far above or been carried here from somewhere else. So the animals of the deep live slowly and patiently and waste nothing at all. Many of them are small and soft and dark. Many are pale and delicate, like living glass. And nearly all of them in this endless night have learned to make their own light. We call it bioluminescence, living light. It is perhaps the deep ocean's most beautiful secret. All through the midnight zone, in the total darkness, tiny living lights blink and glow and drift. A soft blue sparkle where something has moved. A gentle pulse of green. A slow, drifting glow, appearing and fading in the dark. Down here, in the largest darkness on Earth, more creatures make light than anywhere else in the world. They use it for everything. Some light up to find one another in the vast dark. Some glow to lure a meal close. Some flash suddenly to startle a hunter and vanish. Some release a soft glowing cloud into the water and slip away behind it, leaving only light where they used to be. There are creatures here that trail long glowing threads through the black water like living lanterns. There are soft, transparent animals whose whole bodies shimmer with pale light when they are touched. There are jellyfish that drift through the dark, spinning slow wheels of blue-green fire, beautiful and silent, harming no one. Picture it gently. A vast, black, endless sea, cold and still and quiet, and scattered through it, here and there, soft living lights, blinking, glowing, drifting, fading. Points of gentle blue in an ocean of dark, each one a small living thing, going quietly about its life, 1,000 meters beneath the waves. Nothing hurries. Nothing is loud. There is only the cold and the dark and the slow, patient glow of life carrying on where the sun has never reached. Rest here in the midnight zone among the soft lights. There is nothing to fear in the dark. There is only the deep being what it has always been. And there are stranger, older things still waiting further down. Among all the creatures of the deep dark, a few have grown very large, and a few have become legends. Let us drift among them now, slowly and gently. For all their size, they are quiet neighbors, and most of them have never once been seen alive in their own world. Far down in the cold, there lives a creature that sailors told stories about for 1,000 years before anyone ever proved it was real. In old tales, it was a monster that rose from the deep to pull ships beneath the waves. In truth, it is something far more wonderful and far more peaceful, a great, soft, drifting animal with enormous eyes and long, trailing arms, moving slowly through the endless dark. The giant squid. It can grow longer than a bus, and yet, for most of human history, no one had ever seen one alive. We knew them only from the bodies that sometimes washed ashore, or from the marks their arms left on the great whales that hunt them. For centuries, the giant squid lived entirely in the dark, and in our imaginations, a real animal that had become a myth, simply because it lived somewhere we could never go. It has the largest eyes of any animal that has ever lived, each one as wide as a dinner plate. The better to gather the faintest hint of light in the endless dark. It drifts through the deep, quiet and slow, watching and waiting, and living out its whole long life where no sun has ever shone. And it is not even the largest of its kind. Deeper still, in the cold waters near the bottom of the world, lives its heavier cousin, the colossal squid, even bigger, even stranger, even less often seen. It is thought to be the largest creature without a backbone anywhere on Earth, and almost everything about its life remains a gentle mystery. We simply do not know. It lives too deep, too far away, too well hidden in the dark for us to say. There are old hunters here, too. Long, long ago, in the ancient oceans, the deep was patrolled by sharks larger than any alive today. Enormous, slow-moving giants with teeth as big as a hand. The greatest of them has been gone for millions of years now, its time long past. But the deep still holds sharks of its own, slow, patient creatures, some of which live longer than almost any animal on Earth, drifting through the cold for centuries, in no hurry at all. Imagine that. A living thing deep in the dark, older than the oldest building you have ever seen. It was already swimming these cold waters long before your great-grandparents were born, and it may still be swimming there, slow and calm, long after tonight. That is the pace of the deep. Everything here is unhurried. Everything is patient. Life is slow and cold and long and quiet. The giants of the dark are not monsters. They never were. They are simply old and large and gentle, great soft shapes moving through a great soft dark, living the only way the deep allows, slowly, quietly, and mostly unseen. Let them drift past you now, one by one, into the black. The giant squid with its great patient eyes. The old, slow sharks counting their centuries. All of them at home in the dark. All of them calm. All of them carrying on far below, as they always have. And now let us go lower still, down to the floor of the world itself. Down and down and down, below the drifting giants, below the soft lights of the midnight zone, down through thousands of meters of cold, black, patient water, until at last, far beneath everything, you reach the floor of the deep sea. They call it the abyssal plain. It is one of the flattest, quietest, most enormous places on Earth. Vast plains of soft, pale sediment stretch away in every direction, further than any eye could ever see, wrapped in total darkness and total silence. This is the true bottom of the world, and it covers more of the planet's surface than all the dry land put together. The ground here is soft. Over millions upon millions of years, a slow, endless rain has been falling through the deep, a fine, pale drift of tiny particles, the remains of countless small lives from the sunlit world far above. Down and down it sifts, settling silently onto the sea floor, layer upon layer, so slowly that in 100 years it might build up no thicker than a sheet of paper. Scientists have a gentle name for it. They call it marine snow. Picture it. In the black water all around you, a soft, slow, silent snowfall, pale flakes drifting endlessly downward through the dark, catching what little light there is, sinking gently to the plain below. It never stops. It has been falling for as long as there has been an ocean, and it feeds nearly everything that lives down here. Because on the abyssal plain, this quiet snow is the only food there is. And so the creatures of the deep floor live slow, patient lives, gathering what drifts down to them. Soft, gentle sea cucumbers move across the sediment, no faster than the hour hand of a clock, quietly tidying the fallen snow. Strange pale fish rest on long, thin fins, propped up on the soft floor like little tripods, waiting motionless in the dark for a meal to come to them. Delicate corals grow slowly on the rare rocks, spreading their soft arms to catch the falling flakes. Nothing rushes. Nothing needs to. In a world where food falls like snow and time moves like the tide, there is no reason to hurry and every reason to be patient. The abyssal plain is the quietest place on earth. No wind, no waves, no sound at all but the faint, endless whisper of the snow. The same cold, the same dark, the same slow patience, hour after hour, year after year, age after age. It has been this way for longer than we can truly imagine. Long before there were people, long before there were forests, long before almost anything you know, this vast dark plain was already here, silent and soft and endlessly falling with its gentle snow. Rest here a while on the floor of the deep world. Let the soft snow fall around you. Let the silence hold you. There is nowhere quieter in all the world than right here at the bottom of the sea. And soon, something will fall through the dark to feed this quiet plain, something very large, and its arrival will change everything for miles around. Far above the plain, in the sunlit sea, a great whale grows old. It has lived a long life, many long years, roaming the wide ocean, singing its slow songs across hundreds of miles of water. And now, gently, its long life comes to an end. This is not a sad thing. It is simply the turning of the deep world, the same turning that has always been. For the whale's ending is about to become a beginning for countless other lives far below. The great body begins slowly to sink. Down it drifts out of the light, through the twilight, through the midnight, sinking gently through the cold, dark water for a mile or more. It falls the way everything falls in the deep, slowly, quietly, without a sound. And at last, after its long descent, it settles softly onto the abyssal plain, into the silence, into the dark. Scientists have a name for this too. They call it a whale fall. And on the empty, hungry floor of the deep sea, it is a feast beyond anything the plain has known. Remember, food is rare down here. For years, the creatures of the deep floor have lived on nothing but the slow, thin drift of marine snow. And now, all at once, out of the darkness, a vast and unimaginable meal has arrived. Word travels through the deep in the only way it can, carried on the cold, still water, and slowly, from all around, life begins to gather. First come the wanderers of the deep, slow, patient scavengers drawn from miles away, arriving quietly to share in the feast. They come without hurry, as everything does down here, and they stay for a long, long time. For months, sometimes years, the great body feeds them all. And when the larger creatures have taken their share, smaller lives move in. Countless tiny animals settle onto what remains, making their homes in the bones themselves. Soft worms, pale and gentle, root down into the great skeleton and quietly draw their living from it. Whole small communities spring up around the fallen whale in a place that not long before was empty and dark and bare. A single whale fall can feed the deep for 50 years. 50 years from one life ending on the floor of the sea. First a feast, then a home, then a slow and gentle fading, as the last of the great body returns piece by piece to the quiet plain. And when at last it is gone, the snow keeps falling, and the dark keeps waiting, and in time, somewhere far above, another old whale begins slowly to sink. This is how the deep has always worked. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wanted. Every ending feeds a beginning. Every life that drifts down from the world above becomes, in the patient dark, a gift to the lives below. There is a deep kindness in it if you look gently. The whale that sang across the ocean gives itself, in the end, to the smallest and quietest creatures of the deep floor. And they, in turn, carry that life onward into the dark for half a century more. Let that rest softly with you now. In the deep, nothing is truly lost. It only changes and drifts down and feeds what comes next. The whale is at peace on the quiet plain. The soft snow is falling, and we still have further to go down into the deepest places of all. This first part runs roughly 55-65 minutes of slow narration. Ask to continue, and the remaining chapters carry it to the full 2 hours and the gentle good night ending. Down and down and down again. You might think the abyssal plain is the bottom of the world. For almost all of the ocean, it is. But in a few narrow places, scattered across the deep, the sea floor suddenly drops away once more into the very deepest places on Earth. These are the trenches, the Hadal Zone, named for the old idea of the underworld, because they are the lowest places that water has ever reached. Here, in these long, narrow cracks in the seafloor, the ocean plunges down past 6,000 meters, past 8,000, and in the deepest trench of all, down beyond 11,000 meters below the waves. That is deeper than the tallest mountain on Earth is high. If you could lift up the greatest peak in the world and set it down into the deepest trench, its summit would still be more than a mile beneath the surface, swallowed completely by the dark. The deepest of them all lies far out in the Pacific. We call it the Challenger Deep. It is the lowest known point on the whole surface of the Earth, and it is one of the most remote and least visited places our world has ever known. Far more people have stood on the top of the highest mountain than have ever descended to the bottom of this trench. Down here, the weight of the water above is almost beyond imagining. Every step of the descent has added more and more and more, until the pressure at the bottom is more than 1,000 times what it is at the surface. It is a weight that would crush almost anything from the world above in an instant, silently, without a trace. And yet, even here, at the very bottom of the world, there is life. This is one of the quiet marvels of the deep. In the deepest trench on Earth, in cold and darkness, and under unimaginable pressure, small living things go calmly about their lives. Pale, soft little creatures drift and crawl across the floor of the trench, feeding on whatever drifts down to them from far above. There are small swimming animals here in great numbers, gathering wherever food arrives. And there are gentle, pale fish, soft and slow, that live deeper than almost any other animal with a backbone, resting quietly on the very floor of the world. They are not fierce. They are not frightening. They are simply patient and delicate and perfectly at home in a place that would end almost anything else. They have never known light. They have never known warmth. And they have never needed either. The trench is all they have ever had, and it is enough. There is a stillness in the trenches deeper than anywhere else. No storms have ever reached here. No sunlight, no seasons, no day and no night. Only the same cold, the same dark, the same enormous quiet, holding steady across thousands of years. It is perhaps the most peaceful place in all the world, precisely because so little has ever happened here, and so little ever will. Rest for a moment at the bottom of the deepest trench. There is nothing below you now. You have reached the lowest place that water can go, and it is calm and cold and endlessly, endlessly still. Let that stillness settle into you. There is no deeper quiet anywhere on earth. Now let us rise just a little off the floor and speak of something wonderful the deep has kept for us, a secret about time itself. The deep ocean does not change the way the rest of the world does. Up in the light, the world is always rushing onward. Seasons turn. Creatures rise and fade. The whole living surface of the planet reshapes itself again and again. But down in the cold and the dark, time moves differently. It moves slowly. Sometimes it seems hardly to move at all. And because of that, the deep has become a kind of keeper of old things. There is a fish that swims in the deeper waters off a few distant coasts. A large, heavy, ancient-looking fish with thick scales and strange, fleshy fins that move almost like slow limbs. For a very long time, we knew this fish only from stones, from fossils pressed into ancient rock, tens of millions of years old. We believed it had vanished from the world in the same distant age that saw the last of the great dinosaurs. We thought it had been gone for more than 60 million years. And then, one day, not so very long ago, a living one was found. It had been there all along. Deep down, off the coast, swimming quietly in the dim water, this ancient fish had simply carried on, unchanged, while the entire world above transformed beyond recognition. Empires rose and fell. Whole ages of life came and went. And through all of it, in the calm of the deep, this old, patient creature kept living exactly as its ancestors had, millions upon millions of years before. We call such creatures living fossils, and the deep is full of them. Down here, where nothing hurries and little ever changes, the old ways survive. Simple, ancient forms of life that vanished long ago from the busy surface still drift on quietly in the dark, like living memories of a much older world. The deep, in this way, is a kind of time capsule. To go down into it is not only to go deeper. It is, in a gentle sense, to go backward into older water, older stillness, older forms of life, all preserved by the patient cold of the sea. Let that thought rest softly with you. Far below, in the dark, the ancient world is still quietly alive. And there is one more thing the deep does, slowly and silently, that touches every living thing on earth, including you tonight, wherever you are resting. The deep ocean moves, not quickly, not in waves or tides, but in great, slow, silent rivers that wind through the entire sea, so slowly that a single journey can take 1,000 years. It works like this. Far away, in the cold seas near the poles, the surface water grows cold and heavy and begins to sink. Down it goes into the deep, carrying its cold with it. And once it reaches the bottom, it begins to travel, creeping slowly along the floor of the ocean, spreading out across the world, drawn onward through the dark. This slow, deep current winds its way from ocean to ocean, all the way around the world, along the bottom of the sea. It moves without hurry, without sound, patient as everything else down here. And after a journey of perhaps 1,000 years, somewhere far away, that same water rises again at last, back toward the light and the warmth of the surface. Scientists sometimes call it the Great Ocean Conveyor. It is one of the slowest, grandest movements in all of nature. A single, endless loop of water, sinking in the cold, creeping through the deep, and rising again, carrying warmth and cold around the whole planet as it goes. And it matters, quietly, to everything. This slow, deep current helps to spread the sun's warmth across the world. It softens the harshness of the seasons. It helps to shape the climate of whole continents, and it carries the breath of the surface, the very air dissolved in the water, down into the deep, where it feeds the creatures far below. So the deep is not a separate, forgotten place after all. It is joined to everything. The water resting tonight at the bottom of a distant trench may one day rise into sunlight and become the wave that laps ashore, or the mist above the sea, or the rain that falls on some far-off land. And the water that fell as rain long ago in some ancient age may be resting in the deep even now, in the cold and the dark, halfway through a journey 1,000 years long. It is all one ocean, one slow, patient, endless turning of water from the light to the dark and back again, around and around the world forever. Let that slow turning carry you now, gently, the way it carries everything else. There is no hurry. There has never been any hurry. The deep has all the time in the world. For almost all of human history, none of this was known. The deep ocean was, to the people of the past, a total mystery, a vast dark unknown beneath the waves, filled only with the creatures of legend and imagination. For thousands of years, sailors crossed the surface of the sea without any idea of what lay beneath them. The deep was simply there, dark and unreachable, keeping its secrets. The first attempts to know it were very simple. Long ago, sailors would lower a heavy weight on a long, long rope, letting it sink until it touched the bottom, and then measuring how much rope had gone out. In this slow, patient way, one careful drop at a time, people began, for the very first time, to learn the shape of the deep, to discover that the sea floor had valleys and plains and hidden mountains, all sketched out slowly, rope by rope, from ships on the surface far above. Then, a little over a century and a half ago, a single great voyage set out to study the deep ocean properly for the first time. For several years, a sailing ship traveled the world's oceans, stopping again and again to lower its lines into the dark, hauling up mud and water and strange living things from depths no one had ever sampled before. It was slow, patient, careful work, and it revealed something astonishing, that even in the deepest, darkest, coldest water, far from any sunlight, the sea was full of life. That single voyage discovered thousands of creatures entirely new to science, and it began, in earnest, the study of the deep sea. But no one had yet gone down there. For a long time still, the deep remained a place we could sample, but never visit. To descend into it in person seemed impossible. The pressure alone, it was thought, would crush any vessel that dared to try. And then, a little over 60 years ago, two men decided to go anyway. In a small, round, incredibly strong vessel, built to withstand the crushing weight of the deep, two explorers climbed down into the water above the deepest trench on Earth. Slowly, carefully, they let themselves sink down through the sunlight zone, down through the twilight, down through the endless midnight, hour after hour, deeper than any human being had ever gone. The descent took most of a day, and at last, after falling for nearly 7 miles, they reached the very bottom of the world. They became the first people ever to touch the deepest point on Earth. And there, at the bottom of the deepest trench, in the beam of their small light, they saw something they would never forget. Life, a living creature, resting quietly on the floor of the deepest place in the world, proof, seen at last with human eyes, that even here, at the very bottom, the deep was alive. They stayed only a short while. Then they began the long, slow rise back to the surface, back to the light, carrying with them the knowledge that it could be done, that a human being could reach the deepest place on Earth and return. For many years afterward, no one went back. It was simply too hard, too far, too dangerous. And then, decades later, a single explorer made the long descent again, alone this time, in a new vessel, sinking once more to the bottom of the deepest trench to see it with fresh eyes. And in the years since, small robotic craft built to withstand the pressure have traveled down into the trenches, sending back soft, glowing pictures of the deep floor, pale creatures, drifting snow, quiet ground stretching away into the dark. Little by little, drop by drop, dive by dive, we have begun to know the deep. And yet, even now, we have barely begun. This is perhaps the most wonderful thing of all. After all our exploring, after all our science, and all our machines, the deep ocean remains, to this day, almost entirely unknown. We have mapped only a small part of the sea floor in any detail. Most of it, the vast majority of the largest habitat on our planet, has never been seen by human eyes at all. There are mountains down there we have never mapped, plains we have never crossed, creatures, surely beyond counting, that no one has ever named, living out their quiet lives in the dark, exactly as they have for millions of years, entirely unaware of us. Every time we send a craft down into the deep, we find things we have never seen before. New creatures, new shapes of life, gentle, glowing, drifting things, utterly unknown, appearing softly in the light of a passing camera, and then slipping away again into the dark. The deep ocean is the greatest unexplored wilderness left on Earth. It is right here beneath the waves, covering most of our world, and it is still, after everything, a mystery. A vast, dark, patient mystery, resting quietly beneath the surface of the world we think we know so well. And there is something comforting in that. In a world that can feel so busy, so bright, so thoroughly mapped and measured and known, it is a quiet gift to remember that most of our own planet is still dark and still calm and still waiting, holding its ancient secrets gently, in no hurry at all to give them up. The deep does not need us. It never has. It was here long before us, keeping its darkness, and it will be here long after tonight, keeping it still. The soft snow will keep falling. The slow currents will keep turning. The pale, gentle creatures will keep drifting through the dark, making their small lights, living their long, quiet lives at the bottom of the world. And that is where we will leave them now, at peace, in the dark, exactly as they have always been. So let yourself rise slowly, one last time, up from the deepest trench, up past the quiet plain and the soft falling snow, up through the endless midnight, past the drifting lights, up through the twilight, toward the first faint memory of blue, up and up gently through the cooling water until far above at last you sense the softness of the surface waiting. But you do not need to reach it, not tonight. You can simply drift here, somewhere in the quiet water, held gently by the sea. Warm now, safe now, weightless and calm and slow. Let your breathing settle. Let it grow slow and soft, like the deep itself. There is nothing left to do tonight. Nowhere to go. Nothing to remember. The whole long history of the deep ocean has unfolded around you. 4 billion years of water and darkness and patient, quiet life. And now it simply holds you gently in the dark and asks nothing of you at all. The deep is calm. The night is calm. And you can let yourself grow calm along with them. Let the last of the light fade softly away. Let the quiet close around you like warm water. And let yourself sink slowly, gently, not into the cold this time, but into sleep. Rest now. The deep will keep its darkness for you. It always has. It always will. Good night. Sleep well. And drift softly down into the quiet.